Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. It is Thursday. We are heading towards the weekend. I hope all is well and you're enjoying your week. Some lovely weather to come by the sounds of it in the UK over here. So yeah, get your sunglasses on for the weekend. Lots to talk about today. West Ham, of course, winning the Conference League final last night. Not that that really matters too much to Arsenal, but of course there is the big sideshow to that in terms of Declan Rice. Lots of questions fired at him during the post-match celebrations yesterday. A little bit harsh, I suppose. You don't really need to be answering questions like that when you're celebrating, you're having just led your side to a first European trophy. But it was always going to happen. So we'll look at what he had to say. We'll talk a little bit about that, what we expect to happen next. Big world in the world of football transfers yesterday. Lionel Messi, heading over to the United States. Jude Bellingham heading over to Real Madrid as well, all beginning to move at the moment. And of course, like yesterday's video, I'll go through a few sort of questions stroke comments from that you guys left on yesterday's video and give my thoughts on those. So let's start with Declan Rice first of all, shall we? Fantastic night for him. Fantastic night for West Ham. I was really happy for them. I was happy for David Moyes as well. Never won anything. Such a sort of successful manager, shown a lot of longevity. It was great for him. You can see how much it meant to him. It was a really good win for West Ham. I don't think the game was that great. I don't think West Ham played that great, but they got the job done, and that's all you can ask for in a final. Real good composure from Jared Bowen there going through last minute. Wasn't having the commentary though, I have to say. I know you got to think on your feet, whatever, but I'm not sure repeating Brian Moore's "it's up for grabs now." I bet a lot of Arsenal fans, I wasn't the only Arsenal fan around there thinking, what are you doing? You can't say that. But anyway, that's just me picking holes in it. For West Ham, fantastic. Great scenes at the end. And yeah, Declan Rice, unsurprisingly, bombarded with questions afterwards. Pretty much every media person that spoke to him about his future. Was this his last game? What's going to happen now? He said, this is one of the responses he gave, he said, look, it's not goodbye yet. There's loads of speculation about my future and there is interest from other clubs, but look, nothing has happened. I'm a West Ham player. I've still got 2 years left on my contract. I love every minute of playing for this club and captaining this club. You can see the smile on my face. It's not about that tonight. It's about us celebrating. Let's wait and see what happens. My focus is playing for West Ham at the moment. I'm captaining this club and I can't speak highly enough of this place. Let's just see what happens. Who knows? Now, look, he's not going to stand there on his pitch just a few minutes after winning the European trophy and suddenly announce, no, I'm going, I'm leaving. I thought he spoke very well. I thought he answered the questions very well, and he was showing a lot of respect for West Ham and what's going on. And he deserves his time to celebrate now. This has been a monumental effort from West Ham. I think they've won 14 games in the Conference League. They only won 11 in the Premier League this season. Pretty mad. It's been a huge effort for them to get to the final and to win it and just let the guys celebrate. They're going to come back today. They've got a street parade through East London with the trophy, which is going to be an amazing thing for them and for their fans. Declan Rice is going to be at the forefront of that. So you just got to let him enjoy it, let the club enjoy it, and then things are going to happen. I think things will happen pretty quickly. Once this is sort of died down, these couple of days, once they've got back, they've had the celebration. I think, as I said yesterday, or the last couple of days, Arsenal are going to make this move pretty quickly to try and get this done. Whether they can get it done straight away remains to be seen. West Ham will want to get as much money as they possibly can for Declan Rice, and they're going to hope that other clubs are going to come in as well. Now, Declan Rice knows all about Arsenal's interests. This isn't something that's been, it's been going on for a long time. There's been a lot of work done on this, and it's just a case of waiting for the bid to come in. I can't tell you when it's going to go in because I don't know, but it will go in pretty quickly, and then we're just going to have to wait and see if it meets West Ham's demands, which you would expect. The first one, it probably won't because it doesn't tend to. And then it just depends on how Arsenal can improve that offer, how they can get it up to a number that West Ham find acceptable, the structure of the deal, how much is paid up front, how much is paid over the next couple of years, whatever. I don't think personal terms are going to be an issue or anything like that. It's just a case of trying to get this done with West Ham pretty quickly and trying to avoid getting dragged into a bidding war with other clubs, which is the last thing Arsenal need this summer and the last thing they want. I think it's important for everyone that this one gets done pretty quickly, because then that's your big signing for the summer. That's your massive one. That was the number one priority. You get that done, and then you kind of know what's left to do for the rest of the summer. You know how much money you've just committed for Declan Rice, so you know how much money is left, basically. Maybe who else needs to get moved out. I think it's that this is the first sort of the key building block of the summer. Once this one's out of the way, and then the rest of the summer maybe, and the planning for it and what you do becomes a little bit clearer. So it's really, really important, I think, that Arsenal get this one done pretty quickly. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Bellingham's gone to Real Madrid. It was always looked like it was going to happen. That's been done now. I think the fee's about 100 million euros. It could rise up to 130 million over the next few years with clauses and that sort of stuff. Fantastic move for him. And what a story. You know, this kid coming out of Birmingham, real young kid, goes over to Germany, rips it up, gets himself a move to Real Madrid to basically replace one of the two biggest legends at the club in Kroos and Modric. Yeah, fantastic story for Bellingham. Really big transfer for Madrid, who've done some good signings over the last couple of years in terms of some of the best young talent in the world, and I think they're certainly laying the foundations for a good young team to emerge at Real Madrid. And Lionel Messi going to America, going to Orlando. Fair play to him. You know, he could have easily gone to Saudi Arabia like everyone else, but he's gone over to America, and I think it'll be fantastic for MLS. You know, my brother lives over there. He lives in Dallas. He goes and watches FC Dallas quite a bit, and you know, he's very excited at the prospect of seeing Lionel Messi. So it's a huge thing for MLS and for Messi, and you know, in the build up to the next World Cup, it'll be interesting to see how he does. And I'm quite happy he has gone over there. And it's just been a mad 24 hours when you sort of factor in McAllister as well. The day before that, all the things are starting to move now. The market's really beginning to heat up, and hopefully Arsenal can get this Rice deal done and they can add to that, because you don't want to be sort of playing catch up in the summer. You want to be right at the front and getting yourself sorted ahead of the new season. Arsenal did that very, very well last summer. You know, basically by the time they came back from America, they had everyone on board. They'd signed Jesus, he'd come in early. They got Zinchenko while they were in America. Vieira had come in early. He went to the US tour. Matt Turner came in early. Marquinhos as well. You know, everyone was there, and that just really helped for the summer. You know, so many people, when you talk to them at Arsenal about last summer and the pre-season and how well it went, and the tour and how well that went, they all point to that as such a key reason for them starting the season so well, because everyone was on board early, everyone settled in, everyone got to know each other. They really started to pick up momentum. You know, they won every single game during pre-season because they were in such good shape. And that just carried in. You know, they hit the ground running against Crystal Palace in the first game of the Premier League, and then bang, they were off. You know, had that amazing start over the first half of the season. You want to try and replicate that this season. It's never always that easy, obviously, especially when you're shopping for top talent. But the benefits of getting your business done early and having your squad there, so Arteta can start to work with it from basically day one in pre-season, certainly before they go off on tour, because that's so important as well. You know, the 2 weeks of just basically being together, having all the new guys getting used to each other, you're used to the coaches, used to the training, so you can get back to England and really get going ahead of the Premier League season. So it's going to be really, really important. Clubs are moving. Arsenal need to make sure they do that as well. Okay, so a few sort of questions and comments from you guys now, as I'm going to start doing, as I said yesterday, on these videos towards the end of them. Tom Frost, first of all, thank you very much for your comment yesterday and your question. You said, if Bellingham is worth under £100 million, how can West Ham ask that for Rice? It's a good question, I suppose, but I mean, it's tough for me to answer, because basically they can ask that because they want to ask that. Which might sound a little bit simple, but it is just the case, isn't it? A player is worth what one club wants to sell him for, or B, what the buying club wants to buy him for. And if West Ham put a valuation of that on Declan Rice, then it's up to Arsenal to meet that if they want to sign him. You can't really compare and contrast, because it just doesn't really work like that, doesn't it? To Declan Rice, to West Ham, Declan Rice is priceless. He's their captain. He's a local boy. He's still got 2 years left on his contract, so you know he's not into the final year. He's worth so much to them in terms of commercial stuff, in terms of the connection with the fans. You know, replacing Declan Rice for West Ham is going to be incredibly difficult. So they can basically ask for what they want, and if a club doesn't meet that, then you know West Ham have got the option to keep him. So obviously Bellingham's fantastic talent, huge talent. He's younger, but I don't think you can really compare. I mean, Arsenal to West Ham, it's a Premier League club to a Premier League club. That always drives the price up. He's an England international. I know Bellingham is as well, but just moving between Premier League clubs, it's just a tax. It's just that Premier League tax that you talk about. So, you know, I get what you mean, Tom. Absolutely get what you mean when you sort of compare the players and how much Bellingham has gone for. But it just doesn't really work like that, does it? It all depends on what West Ham want and what Arsenal are willing to pay and what other clubs are willing to pay as well. And I think if Arsenal don't meet what West Ham want, then I'm pretty sure another club probably will. So that's the situation Arsenal find themselves in this summer. Freddie Welsh, says we also need a top striker, but who? Eddie is okay, but not Champions League quality again. If Jesus gets an injury, who? It's a concern. Cheers, Charlie. Wicked as ever. Thank you, Freddie. It's a tough one. I mean, the striker one is an interesting debate, I think. Do Arsenal need a striker this summer? I think ideally, yes. Are they going to sign someone? I wouldn't be able to sit here right now and say yes, because the targets are, their midfield is absolutely a priority. Arsenal want to sign a couple of players in midfield. They want to sign a fullback. Getting cover for Saka is absolutely essential, I think, because he just basically had none for years now. That has to be sorted. I think Arsenal, although Jesus was injured for a lot of time yesterday last season, and Nketiah came in and did pretty well at first, but then the goals dried up. You still look at it. Arsenal scored 90 or 88 goals last season in the Premier League, the most I think they've scored in any season. So it's not like goals are a problem. The good thing about this Arsenal team is they share the goals around. If the striker's not scoring, Saka is, and if he's not, Martinelli is. If he's not, then Odegaard is. Xhaka was scoring. So as I do agree, I think a striker is important, and it would be great if they could get another striker in. But I just think going into this window, the other priorities might take preference over that, and Arsenal will look at it and think, you know what, we've still got enough goals to go through this season without another striker. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, when you ask who would it be, and you kind of look at, I'd love Ivan Toney. I think Toney's a fantastic striker. I think he'd give Arsenal a brilliant Plan B option. He's so dominant in the air, and we're seeing it's really useful again to have that sort of option to be able to go direct. Even Manchester City are doing it now at Haaland. It transformed City's season almost, playing this direct football at times, and Arsenal haven't been able to do that. They haven't got the players to do that, and you kind of look at it and think, is that an issue? Would that be good if Arsenal had that option? I think Toney would be great, but obviously he's banned until January. So you'd say, can you really sign him in the summer? I doubt. What's the point of paying that wages until January and when he can come back? So I think that one probably rules that one out. If he hadn't been banned, I think you'd absolutely go all in for Ivan Toney this summer. Obviously Victor Osimhen would be amazing, but I just don't see how you buy him because of how much money he's going to cost. I just think that's beyond the realms of possibility for Arsenal this summer, considering the money they're going to be spending elsewhere. Vlahovic, player they've been heavily linked with in the past, although that summer when there was widespread reports that he was going to sign for Arsenal, I was always being told that he wasn't, and to steer away from it. And it was quite confusing, some of that one, because there were some really strong reports about Arsenal and Vlahovic, but I was always told from the start that it wasn't one that was going to happen. So I'm still not 100% sure about that interest in him. You got obviously Rasmus Højlund, haven't you? The Atlanta, the Danish striker who is getting a lot of headlines. He's got about 9 goals in Serie A last season. He's done well for Denmark. He's an option, but I don't know. I'm not sure about the striker. I think there's other priorities that are probably a little bit more pressing right now. I think next summer's the one where potentially you go very, very big and get in a new striker once you've sorted the midfield out this summer. Who else have we got here? David Howe says, if we sign Caicedo and Rice this summer, which would be the ideal scenario? Would you start the season with those two in midfield with Odegaard and leave Partey on the bench? Or would you play Partey with one of Caicedo or Rice? Good question that, David. It's made me think a lot. I think you start the season with Partey. I think to completely revamp the midfield and go with 2 new players, I'm not sure. I wonder how disruptive that might be. I think maybe you'd give someone like Caicedo a little bit of time to bed in, and I think you play Partey and you move Declan Rice into the Granit Xhaka role potentially alongside Martin Odegaard. Whether that would be the case long term, I don't know. I think it'd be very hard to leave Caicedo out of the team, or you could potentially play Caicedo at right back. Whether that be an option they consider, I don't know, but he's certainly played very, very well there against Arsenal. And it is an option that you can bring. But yeah, I think if you managed, the dream scenario of signing both of those players in the same summer, I still think you probably, as long as Partey's fit and he's had a good pre-season, I think you start the season with Partey in that role, because I think it takes a long time to get used to playing that role. It took Thomas Partey a long time to get used to playing that role because you're very, very exposed in that role in this Arsenal team, in this Arsenal system. And it took Partey a fair while to adjust to it and really start to play his best football. So just bring in a new signing, throw him straight into that role where they've not got used to it in this system when you're left very, very exposed at times. I think that might be a little bit of too much of an ask. And so you start the season with Partey, and then you sort of rotate the others and sort of ease them into the club. So that's probably what I would do, but I'm not Mikel Arteta. And finally today, let's go with one from Camillo, who I think he sent me a message from Australia. Hope you're well, Camillo. He said, what do you think will happen with Tomiyasu now that Ben White has been filling in at right back? Ben has done a great job this year in that position, so hopefully Arteta keeps him there. Tomiyasu happy as a bench warmer for now? Wouldn't it make more sense to bring in a left back rather than a right back with Tierney leaving? Is Saliba any closer to signing a new deal? I can't say about Saliba, unfortunately. I don't know. Talks are ongoing, and if he was close to signing a deal, I'd absolutely 100% report it. But I just don't know. I know that all parties are, hopeful that one will still get done, but that's saying that and actually it happening is another thing. So I can't give you any more information on Saliba, unfortunately. In terms of Tomiyasu, I think he's a really important squad player. I think him getting injured at the same time with Saliba last season was absolutely crucial in terms of how Arsenal's season panned out, because I'm pretty sure had Tomiyasu not got injured, he would have finished the season at right back and Ben White would have played at centre back with Gabriel, and I think Arsenal would have been a lot stronger for it. So I think, you don't want to. I wouldn't even want to be considering letting Tomiyasu go this summer at all, because he can play in a lot of positions. And when you talk about there, you say, wouldn't it be better to get a left back with Tierney leaving rather than the right back? Personally, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Mikel's looking at Tierney as Tomiyasu as the sort of the second option at left back. We saw it; he was ahead of Tierney at times at left back. He played him against Liverpool, didn't he? And when he marked Mo Salah out the game, and he's very good at left back, Tomiyasu, and he can play. He's more suited to coming into the middle central area positions than Tierney was, and almost being that inverted fullback that we see from Zinchenko. Not as good at it as Zinchenko, obviously, but he can do that because he's naturally right-footed. So I think that might be why they're looking more at a right back at the moment than a left back, because Mikel's looking at Tomiyasu and thinking, if Tierney does go, then Tomiyasu is the natural player who can come in and provide cover for Zinchenko if needed. So I think that's probably why right back seems to be at this moment a little bit more of a focus than a left back for Arsenal this summer. All right, that's it from me. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions as always. And please do, as always, let me know in the comments below anything you want to hear, anything you want to talk about, disagree with, agree with. Send me your questions and I'll go through some of them in tomorrow's video as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a very good day. I'll speak to you soon.